violence or no other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
Group is accused of terrorizing innocent people on the streets of Baltimore.
In tonight's Maryland's Most Wanted, Alexa Ashwell has the suspect wanted in several attacks.
Investigators say he's one of 6 suspects who assaulted and robbed people as they were doing everyday things in the city. Michael Magoo has at least 3 open warrants for his arrest in a crime spree across Baltimore. The victims, young, old, and unsuspecting.
And guys, I'm telling you, these super gremlins are looking for soft targets. So, you know, that's a tip when you're in the streets. Just understand, if you identify or could be perceived as a soft target, then you need to keep your head on a swivel and your eyes wide open.
October 2021, Southeast Baltimore. A group of masked suspects jump out of a car and attack a victim. One of those men, investigators say, is 22-year-old Michael Magoo.
They would prey on the elderly, children, and couples.
That's crazy. Elderly, children, and couples.
Time they would jump out, jump the individual, assault them, beat them unconscious, take everything they had, and flee in their vehicle.
It was one of several attacks.
9 a.m., midday at noon, middle of the night.
In
broad daylight, middle of the day, middle of the night, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. These super gremlins are coming for your head top. And you best believe they on demon time.
Just a week and a half, investigators say innocent people simply going about their day.
So just imagine walking down the street, walking to the store, waiting on a bus, or just outside, just going for a stroll, walking your dog, and next thing you know, you have a car pull up, 6 masked people jump out and just assault you until you're unconscious and take.
Dang, you can't even do nothing with that. 6 super gremlins jump out on you? I can't even handle that smoke.
Going for a stroll, walking your dog, and next thing you know, you have a car pull up, 6 masked people jump out and just assault you until you're unconscious and
you know they got a Pooh Shiesty mask.
Take everything you have.
Tony Gauze is a senior inspector with the U.S. Marshals Service.
Money, electronics, anything, jewelry, anything that you had on.
He says some of the suspects have since been caught, but not Magoo.
How many crimes do you all believe they committed? How many victims do you all believe they targeted?
So right now it's numerous. We do know that Mr. Magoo is tied to at least 6.
Investigators say Magoo is a convicted felon and was on probation at the time of the attacks after being sentenced to 15 years in prison for an armed robbery in Baltimore County back in 2020.
Wow. So he probably did about 60 to 80% of that 15-year sentence. Okay. So I'll give him about 8, 9, 10 years, you know. And now he's out on parole, man. These super gremlins, I'll tell you what. You out, you have the chance to switch up, and then you just keep going down the same path. It's ridiculous.
Records show a judge suspended all but a year and a half of that sentence, and Magoo went on to commit these assaults.
Wow, hold on. I thought he was gonna do real time. He only did a year and a half. That's crazy. For armed robbery, you do a year and a half? And I still have people really hitting me up saying, oh, no, black people do 20, 30% more time. Buddy, these dudes are catching a break. Like, it's so blatant that it's so blatant that dudes really think guys are snitching because they coming back so soon. Seriously.
And Magoo went on to commit these assaults in the city just 4 months after his release.
Because someone like this, where as though people aren't safe to just do the simple things.
Stealing their property and sense of security. Investigators say Magoo may be here or far from home, with ties across the country in Seattle, Washington, and Northern California. Investigators stressing his pattern of crimes will likely repeat.
Sounds like they were terrorizing people.
They were definitely terrorizing people. It's a victim of opportunity, and I'm going to prey upon them. Something like that keeps everybody on edge.
Take a good look. Magoo stands at about 5'10", weighing approximately 160 pounds. If you have any information into his whereabouts, you can report it anonymously. That number right there, 1-877-WANTED-2, or you can contact Gauze directly. That number, 202-427-0183. Remember, Magoo could be local or out of state. I'm Alexa Ashwell, and this is Maryland's Most Wanted.
A mother of 6 children, a sister, and a caring friend to others is dead tonight at just 32 years old. Police found Passion Pleasant's body off 295 in D.C. on Saturday. Our Tom Dempsey just spoke to the sister of the woman, and she shares with us this beautiful woman's legacy and more on the man they arrested.
Passion is just a nurturer. That's just her. She's always taking care.
Portia and Passion Pleasant shared a bond only sisters can share. The two grew up in D.C. together before Portia saw Passion become a mother to 6 children.
My sister, she lived for her children.
But this past Saturday brought heartbreak for her family when police found Passion's body along this stretch of 295 near the Whitney Young Memorial Bridge near Benning. Investigators say she died after being shot, while stab wounds were also found on her body.
Wow, and that reminds me of Tioni Theus. I mean, there's a lot of women who are just getting dumped off on the side of the road like roadkill.
I saw the news report via internet, not knowing that that was my sister.
Police later arrested 30-year-old Greg Johnson in connection to the crime, describing the murder as domestic in nature. Speaking to WSA9 on Sunday, Portia says Greg and her sister dated for years, but what appeared to be a loving relationship during family gatherings allegedly became something much different.
From what I know in the beginning, he was a light to her life and to the kids. As time went on, I have came to learn that he became very abusive.
Now, feeling the pain of losing her.
Well, that's real. That's real. I mean, he probably was hiding, you know, his abusive side early in the relationship. And when it happened, she wasn't able to get away, you know. Maybe she tried to give him a chance. He hit her 1-2 times. And it just erupted.
Little sister, Portia hopes to carry on Passion's legacy by helping survivors of domestic violence.
It's not talked about like it should be. So I have to be an advocate for my sister.
Tom Dempsey, WUSA 9.
It's devastating, and her sister shows such strength. And we are thinking of that family tonight. The National Coalition Against Domestic Violence reports, on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. During 1 year, this equates to more than 10 million women and men. Remember, there is a way out, and if you need help tonight, please call 800-799-7233. That domestic violence hotline is at the bottom of your screen. Let's take a moment to pause and breathe before we continue. That story was awfully heavy and heartbreaking. A woman lost her life this weekend. 6 children lost their mother, and their lives will never be the same.
Dang. She got me all into this. I ain't gonna lie. Wow. I mean, it's crazy to think that this is happening all over, man. You know, we just did the story on Belleville the super gremlin that killed his baby mother. Man, the divestors are up, man. It's crazy. They definitely are. They have endless cases. They have endless evidence to make their point, to make their case. And you know, there's obviously a middle ground. You know, it goes both ways, but at the rate that these sisters is getting killed, it's like, it's mind-blowing.
Sadly, we've reported on far too many of these deadly domestic violence cases. We know the statistics. Police and advocates tell us domestic violence cases have spiked since the pandemic. What we don't know, the cost. The lasting damage to these families and to these future generations left now to rebuild, all because of a coward who ripped their lives apart. We may never know what's happening behind closed doors or the pain someone is hiding, but I do believe that we all have a part to play in showing a bit of unusual kindness to our neighbors, because you never know, it could just save their lives.
Well, in another story, we are learning more tonight about the possible motive in the murder of a Baltimore police lieutenant's husband.
Yesterday, we told you about concerns the teenage suspect should not have been out on the streets because of 2 open warrants linked to him. WJZ investigator Mike Kelvin joins us live now from police headquarters with the latest. Mike?
Vic, Denise, officially police are tight-lipped about a motive. But tonight, sources are shedding new light onto why this killing happened.
The male shot in a black vehicle comes back to an '09 Honda, registered to a James Edward Blue III.
Why would someone want to kill James Blue? The respected father of 3 was shot over and over again at close range.
Dang. And this is the husband of a police lieutenant in Baltimore. Simply mistaken identity. You know? And we say gliders think we all look alike. I mean, how is this not, honestly, how is this not a hate crime? For real. He just, black dude, bald black dude. Like, come on, dude.
As he waited for an appliance delivery outside a home he'd recently bought as a fixer-upper. Police had already ruled out that his wife's job as a lieutenant in BPD Internal Affairs was behind the killing. Now, multiple sources tell WJZ this is a case of mistaken identity. That Blue was killed because the suspect was suspicious of why he was just sitting in his car talking on his phone for so long.
Wow. So these super gremlins are just paranoid, like, oh, bro, somebody outside my car. I mean, somebody outside my house. You know what I mean? They must be trying to get the drop on me. Da 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 da. Like, bruh. Woo. And that kind of reminds me of this story in Philly where the white guy, he shot this dude that he got into a little fender bender with because he thought he was pulling back up and, you know, gonna do something. So he took action, took it amongst himself to go and take this dude out before he took him out. You know, I get it. If a dude is sitting outside your crib in the hood and he been there for about 20-30 minutes, definitely looks suspect. But you don't just pull up and kill the man. Damn.
When Blue was only waiting for a refrigerator to be delivered. We're still working to confirm the details, and police are not commenting on that alleged motive. They did make a quick arrest in the case. 18-year-old Mervo High student Siahu Kargbo, who...
Wow. Siahu. He sound like, you know what I mean, an immigrant. He definitely don't sound ADOS.
Has been charged with murder.
The male wearing khaki pants, possibly a school uniform.
Detectives tracked the suspect's movement, which led them to a great piece of evidence, which helped them break through.
The victim's son.
Dude, they said he was in his school uniform. That's crazy.
Was on the phone with him at the time of the killing. He later wrote about those terrifying moments in a tribute to his father on GoFundMe. You didn't deserve to be murdered in broad daylight waiting for a refrigerator. You were minding your business when you were mistakenly identified a street over from your mother's house and murdered. I heard 20 shots on the phone, but I couldn't believe that they were at you.
On the phone with his son, man. That's cold. That is cold right there. I mean, you can't even be on the phone with your son without getting killed. You know what I mean? But it's not by who you think it is.
Last week, I spoke to a neighbor who rushed to comfort his dad.
Just imagine, you know, hearing shots and just saying, Dad, 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 and nobody's speaking in return. I can't even imagine. I cannot imagine.
As for those open warrants, one was issued December 28th in Baltimore City, allegedly for discharging a firearm. It was never served.
Wow. So this guy obviously should have been locked up. It's a lot of these going on. Majority of these crimes are guys who should have been put in jail, key thrown away.
The other was for his home. Baltimore County Police had linked him to an armed robbery. We're looking for evidence. Well, that wasn't served until the day after the killing. Reporting live at City Police Headquarters, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
All right, guys. So I know we have all heard of Joe Biden's plan to supply free crack pipes, basically, in an effort to reduce drug harm. So I'm going to break down some of this article because I want you to know the full details of what this means. And at one point, I remember that they were supplying needles and all this kind of stuff, which I don't think it should be handled by the government, all that. But anyways, conservative legislators are outraged by recent reports that a Biden administration drug harm reduction program may put some of its funds toward after-smoking kits. On Tuesday, U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee wrote to the Department of Health and Human Services expressing grave concerns that a $30 million grant program from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration could include subsidizing drug paraphernalia. Government-funded drug paraphernalia is a slap in the face to the communities and first responders fighting against drugs flowing into our country from a wide-open southern border, Ms. Blackburn wrote in her letter. If this is the president's plan to address drug abuse, our nation is in serious trouble. So, Biden has opened up a whole world of pain when it comes to not only just his ineptitude with handling the office, and we all know how that's going, but just doing things that don't even make sense. And he probably thinks, oh, I'm doing this for the black community. Because you know, those super gremlins, they smoking crack. So I'm just going to keep it fair. We know that whites are doing heroin, so, and we supply them needles. Let's keep it fair. Like, this is... If this ain't racist, then I don't know what is. Honestly. The controversy stems from a recently disclosed request for proposals under the Harm Reduction Grant Program, part of the Biden administration's effort to lessen the impact of drug addiction in marginalized communities. The initiative also intends to fund facilities offering safe syringe exchanges, opioid reversal drugs, fentanyl test kits, and other methods meant to stem the United States striking drug overdose crisis, which killed more than 100,000 Americans between May 2020 and April 2021. A description of the program reported by the Washington Free Beacon says Funding could go towards smoking kit supplies. The Beacon added that an HHS spokesperson explained these kits could include pipes that could be used for drugs like crack cocaine. The prospect that the federal government could be funding such activities outraged fellow Republicans, including Senator Tom Cotton. "Is this a cruel joke?" the Arkansas senator said on Twitter on Monday, calling the program crack pipe distribution. Drug overdose deaths are at their highest record levels. The Biden administration should focus on stopping traffickers instead of creating more demand for their product. And this guy, Tom Cotton, goes on to say, HHS says the Biden's crack pipe distribution plan is blatant misinformation, but they don't deny the report. Once again, misinformation just means true facts that make Democrats look bad. So this guy, Tom Cotton, he's an actual senator. So, I mean, I'm sure he's read the bill. And let's see, we're going to go to Twitter really quick and look at this. So, Samuel, this is in response to your inquiry on the article on harm reduction from the Free Beacon. This is blatant misinformation. The harm reduction grant offered by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration and authorized by the American Rescue Plan is a grant program designed to help Americans who are struggling with substance use stay healthy and safe, prevent overdose death, and find pathways into evidence-based treatments. Like all programs that use federal funding, these grants must adhere to relevant federal, state, and local laws or regulations. And then I guess this is an email thread. This is where he referred to it as crack pipe distribution. I just wanted to follow up and see if we could get confirmation that HHS is distributing crack pipes. Okay. So the Democrats are calling it misinformation. Let's see. So we just read that. All right, cool. The Justice Department told the Associated Press on Monday that it is currently evaluating whether it would be legal to operate safe drug use sites and other harm reduction measures within appropriate guardrails. This makes a reversal from the agency's stance under the Trump administration, which successfully sued to stop the opening of a safe injection site in Philadelphia. Right, and we see what's going on in Philadelphia now. Such harm they had over 600 murders. Such harm reduction practices meant to lower preventable illness, overdose, and death associated with the unsupervised drug use is already used in places like Canada, Australia, and Europe. The American Medical Association has endorsed harm reduction measures like safe syringe exchange and drug testing kits. Cities like Cincinnati have already experimented with offering safe smoking kits and other supplies, which some health experts argue can prevent the spread of diseases like hepatitis and allowing people using drugs to test if their supplies are laced with deadly fentanyl. We need all the options for people to get safe injection supplies, safe smoking supplies, fentanyl test strips, and Narcan so they can stay alive. This is really scary that they're facilitating all this. It's like they're doing an experiment or something. And I'm not trying to get conspiratorial, but Linda Sider, executive director of Caracol, a nonprofit HIV and AIDS organization in the area, said last year of the privately funded effort, this is a crisis. A similar effort in the Annapolis, Maryland area prompted controversy from local leaders. Absolutely dumbfounded, Carl Snowden, chairman of the Caucus of African American Leaders of Anne Arundel County, said last year of a program handing out safe drug use kits, it was inexcusable and unacceptable. So this is Carl Snowden. He is a leader of the African American leaders of this county, and he says it's unacceptable, inexcusable, and they don't care. Local health officials, meanwhile, said the kits and stop overdose and allow providers to offer people who use drugs more health services and support once a contact is made during the exchange. once we get past the visceral reaction, we get to the point of helping people. And Arundel County Health official or officer Dr. Nilesh Kaler, I'm not even going to try that, told Fox Baltimore in April. Harm reduction advocates say they understand the drug is dangerous, but the interventions like safe needle exchanges and safe smoking kits can help eliminate unnecessary suffering. Okay. We recognize that using drugs introduces risks, but there are ways to make it safer. The National Harm Reduction Coalition writes on its website, people can reduce the risk of HIV, hepatitis C, overdose, and other drug-related harms by applying evidence-based harm reduction strategies around safer drug use. Late last year, the Biden administration unveiled a 4-part plan to tackle drug addiction, including slowing the overprescription of opioids and supporting harm reduction strategies. We are willing to go places where our opinions and our tendencies have not allowed us to go, HHS Secretary Xavier Becerra told NPR at the time. So they didn't deny it. So they basically are handing out crack pipes and other paraphernalia and apparatus to use these illegal drugs. So make the drugs illegal, but the apparatus to use them, the government is handing out. You know, you see how that works. And then they have the open borders. It's almost like they're just blatantly drug dealing in our face and giving us the supplies to kill and or overdose on those. So anyways, I'm going to play this clip of Biden admitting that the crime bill was a mistake, which arguably, if he wants to fix this problem, we're going to need another one. And it's going to have to be bigger and better.
Well, first of all, things have changed drastically. That crime bill, when it voted, the Black Caucus voted for it. Every black mayor supported it across the board. And it didn't. The crime bill itself did not have mandatory sentences except for 2 things. But it had 3 strikes and you're out, which I voted against in the crime bill. But it had a lot of other things in it that turned out to be both bad and good. I wrote the Violence Against Women Act. That was part of it. The assault weapons ban and other things that were good. What I was against was giving states more money for prison systems that they could build, state prison systems. And you have 93 out of every 100 people in jail now is in a state prison, not in a federal prison, because they built more prisons. I also wrote into that bill a thing called drug courts. I don't believe anybody should be going to jail for drug use. They should be going into mandatory rehabilitation. We should be building rehab centers to have these people housed. We should we should decriminalize marijuana, wipe out the record so you can actually say in honesty, you ever been arrested for anything, you can say.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.